Okay, everybody hearing me clearly? Okay, awesome. Well, I am excited to be here, and I want to thank Diana and Karen for making this happen. And I want to thank all of you that took some time last week. I know a lot of you went through the challenge that we ran, the 5-day Reviving Your Downline challenge, and I'm sure a lot of you could probably relate to the whole kind of subtitle of that, is your downline on life support, because God knows we all need a little jolt every now and then. But hopefully you got a lot of value out of that. And I think I truly believe that I gave you in those 5 days the blueprint to you solving any problems you'll ever have with recruiting. I truly do believe that. Now, that doesn't mean that things are going to necessarily happen overnight for you, because I'm sure that a lot of you had already heard a lot of that training, because I know that Karen and Diana are probably giving you some great support, but maybe you learned some things over those 5 days that were kind of eye-opening, and you said, hey, I need to be doing things a little different. You just need to be patient with yourself and give yourself some time to make these strategies work, and I'm confident that you'll see better results. But here's the good news and here's the bad news. I've helped solve one problem for you, but that has created another problem, which I would argue is a bigger issue. But before I get into that, I want to change the way you look at problems, because problems are opportunities. And problems are opportunities for us to grow and evolve and go to that next level in our life. Every time we face a challenge or an obstacle, it means that we're growing and we're progressing. And these are good things. But here's the bigger problem that we now have is, now that we can recruit people onto our team, or we're on our way to doing that, we now have to be able to support those people. And that's a whole different ball game, is being able to train and coach and mentor the people that you bring into the business to help them have success, and begin to grow and develop your team, and start to figure out, hey, who are the people on this team that I should be focusing on to develop other leaders? I'm sure you asked Diana, you asked Karen especially, I would guess that she would attribute one of her secrets to success is she's been really great at developing other people. And I think that's ultimately what this profession is about. And all we're talking about here is we're talking about leadership. And, in my company, and really the thing that I'm most passionate about is helping develop leaders inside of this profession, because I truly believe that the biggest obstacle and challenge you'll ever have in your business, and it never changes, is leadership. It's you. It's not social media. It's not the fact that Facebook changed their algorithm again, or that you're getting less views on your post. It is that you need to learn how to start showing up differently in your business. Because one of the great realizations that I had in my life, and it took me years of struggling in this profession to figure this out, success is not a matter of doing. It is a matter of being. Success is a matter of character. Success is a matter of you getting really clear on the values and the principles that are going to guide your decision-making and the way you operate your business. And if you can start showing up in a different way consistently for yourself and others, that ultimately is the thing that leads you to the results that you want. And I think a lot of people, they're just not aware that that's the issue, and they wind up looking other places, and that's why they remain stuck. Today, I want to have a very powerful conversation around this idea of leadership, why it's so important. And I can promise you that by the end of this talk, you'll have some major aha moments in terms of where you need to go in your business. But I'm going to, even more so than that, I'm going to talk a little bit about this philosophy of leadership that I created a little over a year ago. It's called legacy leadership. And I know that, Diana is, the way we became connected is inside of a program that I have where I teach this philosophy of leadership. Perhaps we have some other legacy leaders here on the broadcast. We are actually, I will be just sharing briefly with you, for those of you that are interested in what I share today, how you might be able to take the next step with me and my training. But legacy leadership is based on this really, I think, different viewpoint on the profession of network marketing. And I always love starting off my discussion with this because I think it really sets the tone. And based off of that introduction, I feel like this is kind of a safe place for me to share this belief, although it is my belief and I don't, in no way am I apologetic about it because it's who I am. I believe that network marketing, your business, is really an assignment from God. And that assignment is to help you grow as a person, as a human being, as a spiritual being. Because how many of us have already figured this out, that network marketing starts out as a personal development program with a compensation plan attached to it? And that when we first start our business and we kind of declare to God and to anybody else that's listening, yes, I am going to create a better life for myself and my family. I am tired of complaining. I'm going to do something about it. When we make that declaration, then God then turns around and says, okay, let's see how serious you are. And things start getting put in your path that become very difficult for us to deal with. And what's interesting is all of our insecurities, all of our self-doubt, all of our negative thinking, all of our limiting beliefs get brought right to the surface the moment we start actually building the business. And this is a very difficult thing for people to face in the early days, right? It's hard for you to look at these areas of yourself that you need to really change and transform. And it's the reason why a lot of people that join this profession fizzle out pretty quickly because they're not willing to do the hard work to change. Now, that's not any of you because you're here, right? But we have to understand the first part of the equation is we need to really start showing up, facing our fears, getting uncomfortable, and growing. And you see, that leads me to the second part of this kind of idea that I have, that our business is an assignment from God to help us grow as a person. But here's the rub. We only grow by facing our fears. We only grow by letting go of certainty and the need to be in control all the times and have things figured out and only do things that we feel pretty confident will go the way that we want. And all of you heard me talk about this in day 2 of the challenge. But we only grow as we let go of this stuff. We only grow as we begin to push past a lot of these fears and discomfort. And we learn how to really come face to face with some of the stories that we've made up about ourselves, about why we can't be successful and why we aren't where we want to be. And we have to learn how to push past that. And the beautiful thing about this profession and why I love it so much is I really do believe it is the best vehicle ever created to help someone live out their God-given purpose for their life. And I think that a lot of times people struggle when they're strong in their faith, but then they really struggle reconciling, how does my network marketing business fit into this bigger picture of the way I want to live my life? And a lot of that, quite frankly, comes from people that teach this business, I believe, just flat out in the wrong way. They teach people to focus on the wrong things. They teach people strategies that are not really authentic and consistent with who people really are. They're overly salesy. They're way too promotional. They're manipulative. And people wind up kind of really struggling with the idea of network marketing. And I think, look, let's be honest with one another. One of the greatest hurdles we all face is just getting over the fact that we're in this profession and owning it and feeling proud of that. You know, being able to go to our friends and family and not feel like we're bothering them or annoying them, that we are giving them a gift and something that can transform their lives. And a lot of people struggle because they can't put their business in the proper perspective of the purpose of their life. And a lot of people just don't understand what that is. You know, one of the biggest questions that we get is people say, I want to know what the purpose of my life is, right? This is the question that we all ask ourselves. Well, I've got a belief, and the belief that I have is founded from much from God's word. And I think that I believe that the purpose of our lives is for us to love God, love ourselves, love others. Now, here's the interesting thing. I talk a lot about love as it relates to business. And I know sometimes that makes people a little uncomfortable because those two things normally aren't talked about together. But I want to be real clear on one thing. When I say love, I'm not necessarily talking about the emotional feelings of love. What I'm talking about is the actions and the way that you behave towards other human beings. Are you someone that has a servant mindset when it comes to your business? Do you, in all cases, operate from strong moral character in your business, doing the right things regardless of certain situations? See, when we can start to practice and put these things into our business, when we operate our business from principles, and that becomes the foundation, things begin to shift for us. But I believe that the purpose of our lives are for us to love, for us to serve, and for us to grow. And I put those in that order for a reason. Because here's where some of you are a little stuck on this. You got these in the wrong order. You got these on the wrong order here. You're loving and you're growing and you're stuck in that pattern, right? You're stuck in that kind of personal development trap of, let me just keep getting ready to get ready. And, I love and I care about people, but I'm not really taking the action that I need to every day in order to accelerate this process. See, I say love, serve, grow, because before you worry about yourself, if you can focus on other people, if you can put yourself out there for the service and betterment of other people, then you, in the process of doing that, will grow faster and grow more than you ever could in any other way. But inside of our community, this idea of legacy leadership is founded on the idea that the purpose of our lives is for us to love, serve, and grow. And what better vehicle do we have than a network marketing business to do those things? And here's the beauty of this. To the degree that we are able to do that, to the degree that we shift our
meeting thing.
I think we have some background noise, everyone.
I'm frustrated.
Diana, why don't you mute everybody out again?
What's going on with you?
Bob, unmute yourself.
Okay, are we good now?
We're good.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So getting back to what I was saying, what better vehicle do we have to do these things than network marketing? And I think if we can start looking at our business from the perspective of it is a vehicle for us to live out our purpose, that network marketing is a vehicle for us to begin to develop the character in our lives. Because success, when I say it's a matter of being, not doing, it's a matter of character. That's really, really what it is. And, you look to anybody, and I think Karen, I don't know Karen that well yet, but I'll guess once again, you look at anybody that has had long-term lasting success in this profession, I promise you they are of the strongest character out there, because you can make a lot of money in this profession doing it the wrong way, stepping on people on your way to the top, but I promise you, you're not going to keep it very long. And I think that this is really, for me, if we can start teaching people a different way to approach their businesses. And here's where I believe that this becomes my ministry, is that if I can teach people a better way to live their lives that's more in line with God's principles and his wishes of how we live our life, and we just do that through the guise of network marketing training, then you know what? Amen. We're going to win on all fronts, because you're going to build your business and you're going to be more successful. And over time, we're going to start to change the way people feel about this profession. Because let's be honest, the people that that look down on network marketing, they really don't look down on network marketing, because most of them don't even understand what it is, because they've never even taken the time to look at it. They look down on network marketers, people that are operating their businesses from the wrong place, that are not being professional, but are not doing what we're talking about here. And we have an opportunity to change that. And I think that if I can play even a small part in shifting the way people think about their businesses, then to me, that's my calling, and that's the mission that I'm on. But let's talk more about leadership. I want to really get into kind of the nitty-gritty of why is it? This is the time of year I think that this discussion is really appropriate. We all go into the new year setting big goals for our business, right? We have these big goals and dreams. We set these massive goals in terms of income or like rank advancements and things that we want to do. And, I was taught this in my early days. My mentors would say, hey, you got to think big. You got to set big goals. And I would go through this process of identifying what I wanted. I would then say, okay, I want to make 6 figures in my business this year. And I wasn't like anywhere near close to that, but I was like, all right, I'm thinking big. And the first question that I would always ask myself, because this is what I was taught, What would I need to do in order to make what it is I want to make? What would I need to do more of if I wanted to hit that next rank or get to that goal or quit my job or whatever that is? And I would put together this action plan, this massive action plan of getting to work and doing what I needed to do. And I would be very hopeful and excited that this was going to be my year. And I would get into it and I'd be good for 2-3 weeks. Maybe I'd make it to February 1st if I was lucky. And then all of a sudden, I'm sure you can guess what I'm going to tell you happened to me, because it's probably the same thing that's happening to you. I would lose steam. I would slip right back into those same negative thoughts and limiting beliefs and patterns of behavior. The habits that I had developed would override all of these good intentions that I had. And it was the same song and dance. I'd go into every year with the same goals and I'd wind up almost back exactly where I was before. And I remember thinking there's got to be something I'm missing here. I mean, you know, there was so many, like my first 3 years in this profession, I struggled. I didn't even recruit a single person my first year. I mean, I was not good. And I remember thinking so many times, I'm a good person. I'm working hard. I think I'm doing this the way that I should. Why is this not happening for me? And looking back now, it was very clear to me as I was missing a really important part. And this is what I'm sharing with you today. Success is not a matter of doing. It's a matter of being. You know, if you've got big goals for your business this year, instead of you asking first, what would you need to do in order to hit those goals? The question you need to start with is, who would I need to be in order to deserve what I say that I want? That is a profoundly different question, because the reason why most people struggle is they set goals for their business, external outcomes, things like income, size of your team, rank advancement, whatever that is. They set goals for external outcomes that are inconsistent with their internal identity. And here's what I will tell you. Your identity is how you truly view yourself deep down in your business. Your identity is made up of your thoughts, your beliefs, the stories that you've made up about yourself, right? The values that drive your decisions. All of this stuff is at play whether you realize it or not. And what I wish I would have learned much earlier is that your external world will always be a reflection of your internal world. And it doesn't matter how bad you want it or how hard you're going to work. If deep down inside you don't start from the right foundation, nothing's going to make a difference. Look, I can promise you, if deep down inside you don't believe that you are truly worthy or deserving of success, if deep down inside you believe that making money or being successful is a trade-off that you're not willing to make, that it's going to be too hard, or that you're not going to want to do what it takes. Like, if these are some of the things, if you're poor in your mind, no amount of hard work or massive action is ever going to make a difference for you. You can never out-earn the person that deep down inside you believe that you truly are. And I wish someone would have told me that when I first started. See, when we talk about identity, every single one of us has a money identity in our business. And it's really easy for us to figure out what that is. Just go look at your bank account. Go look at your commission statement the last couple of months. Go look at the way that you handle and deal with your money. And sometimes that's a hard thing for us to understand, but I want you to understand money is just a reflection of what you believe inside yourself to be. You might out-earn who you believe to be yourself for short periods of time, but you're always going to find a way to come back to that identity. And here's the thing I want you to understand. I'm not trying to share this with you to get you depressed or discouraged. What I want you to realize about identity is you made it up. You literally created it. You started at some point in your life thinking thoughts about yourself because someone did something to you or something didn't happen and you decided it meant something about you, and you kept thinking these negative thoughts about yourself, which over time became beliefs. You see, a belief, it's just a thought with absolute certainty about what you think something means. Now, here's the key part of this. What you think it means. It is your interpretation of the things that have happened in your life. And the thing that keeps people stuck is they develop these limiting beliefs about themselves and what they're able to do, and they make the mistake thinking that their beliefs are actually who they are. They are not who you are. See, if I could use this analogy, a limiting belief is like a pair of glasses with red lenses. And if you have this limiting belief that you're not good enough, and that's the red lens because that's something that you just made up, you decided that's what something meant, I promise you, the only thing you're going to see when you look out in the world is red. You are going to find examples that will support this belief that you have that you're not good enough. See, I told you. And you will actually ignore the good things that happen that will support a contrary point of view, because the human mind has a really interesting way of finding exactly what we want it to. And see, there's a big lesson there, because whatever we focus on, we attract more of into our life. And part of this identity that we've created that holds us back is we have a tendency, and I was guilty of this for years, we only focus on the things that we don't have. And we really struggle expressing gratitude and appreciation for things that we do. You know, one of the things that I learned, I attended a Tony Robbins seminar in December of last year. Tony said that one of the most empowering things we can ever do is learn how to trade our expectations for appreciation. And here's what's really interesting. You look at any area of your life where you are having pain or suffering, I can guarantee you it's because you had an expectation of how you thought something should have went or how someone should have acted towards you, and that expectation wasn't met. And that is causing you pain. And what is the best example we have? Our business. You think you should be further along than you are right now. You think your team should be doing things that they're not doing. And this is causing you pain, and you're focusing more and more on this, and if we do that long enough, here's the big trap. We start to tie our own self-worth to the lack of the results that we see. We think that because things are not happening, it must mean that we're not good enough, when what we don't realize is we are good enough. There's nothing wrong with us. We're not broken. We just got some really broken ways of thinking about life and our business. And all of this brings me back to this idea that you can change your identity. You created it. You thought the thoughts. You made the interpretations. You focused on the wrong things that led you to where you are. When you become aware of this, you can actually begin to consciously choose a new identity. You can say something like this to yourself. This would be a really good example of a line of thinking for you to go down. Let's say that you've got a rank advancement goal in your business this year. And it's a stretch goal. Like you really want, this is something that would require you to really show up in a bigger way. Well, instead of you asking, what would I need to do? I want you to ask this question. I want you to find someone that's already at that rank in your company, maybe more than one person. And I want you to look really closely at what they do and who they are. How do they show up every day in their business different from you? Are they more committed? Are they more disciplined? Are they unstoppable? Are they a better leader? Are they more joyful? Are they more passionate? Do they practice gratitude more often? Do they demonstrate love through their business? See, the thing that I've learned is this: success leaves clues. There are common characteristics and values and attributes that successful people have. And if we start to really look at it this way, what we start to realize is there are a lot of things that people are doing that got them to where they want that we're not doing. Right? We're living in fear. We're not courageous. We're shrinking from our fear. So maybe for you, part of this is you say, one of the values or one of the characteristics that I need to embody this year, if I want to be more successful, if I want to achieve that big goal, is I need to be courageous. And what that means is I need to let fear stop me from not taking action. And then here's the thing. The next step is, once you determine that courageous is something that's one of my values this year that I need to be better at, you start to define, what does that look like? So don't just say courageous. Say, okay, if I'm being courageous in my business, it means that these 2 or 3 things are a demonstration of courage. Maybe that's reaching out and not, letting fear stop you from sharing your products. Maybe it's you stepping up and giving, speaking more in public and giving presentations, or maybe it's doing live videos. See, when we start getting clear on the characteristics and the values, and then we start to define the actions, here's what happens. You are now accountable. There's no more blaming anyone else, because here's one of the worst things that you can do is blame other people for why you are not where you are in your business and in your life. Because when you start blaming others, you give up your power. You give up the power of you being able to make a change. See, you need to learn how to take responsibility for your own success. So many people in this profession have a victim mentality. They think that life happens to them. They think that, that they don't ultimately have control. Look, the one thing you always have control over, not what people do to you or what people say, but you have control over the way you react to them. Look, it took me years to learn this. You cannot change other people. You can't change people. But here's what you can do. You can change the way that you are in relation to those other people. The only thing we ever have control of is ourself. And if we learn how to start taking responsibility for that, if we learn that character, here's where character is created. It's created in the space between what happens to you and the way you react. It's understanding you have a choice in the way that you react. And I'm going to tell you, the success of your business will be created in the way that you respond to the negative circumstances and obstacles that you face in your life. That is the only difference between successful people and people that stay stuck. They respond differently to failure. They put it in a different perspective. It's not a failure doesn't mean it has nothing to do with you. A failure is just a step in the right direction. It's an opportunity for you to grow and evolve. That's where we talk about this God-given assignment for us to grow as a person by facing our fears and pushing past our failures. But all of this brings us back to this idea of character and of being, and understanding that the reason why most people stay stuck is they practice this kind of idea of, I call it have, do, be. If I had the results that I want, if I had the downline, then I could be confident, and then I could go out and reach out to my friends, and then I would have the success, right? How many times, let's be honest. I mean, I used to think that all the time. Well, if I was making the money, then I could reach out to people confidently, and then I'd be successful. Well, I got news for you. That's a prescription for failure. Because what you're missing out is that you'll only have those things when you start showing up before you actually get the results. You're only going to have success and be confident if you can do this. Be, do, have. Ask yourself, who do I need to be? Confident, courageous, joyful, grateful. Who would I need to be in order for me to do what I want to do to have what I say I want to have? And that right there is a profound shift that you make in your business. And it all stems from leadership. And the last thing that I'll say about leadership is this. Why I struggled for years with stepping into leadership is fear and discomfort. And I remember I created this story, and maybe some of you can relate to this. There were a bunch of things that were being asked of me in terms of my leadership that I was really resisting. Things like holding people accountable, right? Confronting them and calling them out when I knew they were doing things detrimental to their business. Instituting boundaries and systems, like all these kind of icky things that I was like, I don't really want to do that because it makes me uncomfortable. And, you know, this is a business that's built on relationships, and it's what makes it such a beautiful profession. And I think what I love about this profession is our team sometimes becomes our best friends and our family. But a lot of times those relationships actually get in the way of you leading people and loving them. Because what I know this idea of legacy leadership, it's really founded on this idea of leading from a foundation of love. And what I know love to be, love isn't always affirming people and telling them what they want to hear and being their friend. You know, I have a 16-month-old son. His name is Grayson, and I'm getting an everyday crash course on what love really is. You know, I have this opportunity, my wife and I, where we have the responsibility to shape this young human being's life and develop his character. And the way we do that is through discipline and sometimes saying and doing things that we don't want to do, and he certainly doesn't want to hear, right? But we know that ultimately, because we love him, we're willing to do those things. But in our leadership, we don't look at it that way. If you really love your team, you're willing to go out of your way for them. You're willing to take a stand for them. You're willing to have tough conversations. You're willing to hold people accountable. You're willing to let people go that have their umbilical cords attached to you, that are volunteer victims, that want you to do it for them, that don't want it. All they want to do is complain and tell you they want things to be better, and they suck up your time, but they do nothing. And your business starts to become a nightmare because you're focusing on the wrong people. Sometimes the best thing you can do is let someone go. And that's not an easy thing to do, because I get it. We all have big hearts. We want to see people win. Sometimes we want it more for them than they do. But this is not what leadership is about. We have to learn how to adopt an entirely different mindset and way of thinking and a set of skills. The person that you are today that got you to where you are is not going to be good enough to get you to where you want to go. You got to continue to grow and reinvent yourself, push past those fears, develop these new skills. And as you begin to do that, you start to see different and you start to see better results. But I mean, look, I think you can tell I'm really passionate about this topic, because I think everything rises and falls on leadership. And I think that, getting back to the original message, I think, the greatest leader of all time, Jesus said, and this is regardless of your beliefs, okay? I'll tell you this, he was the greatest leader of all time, whether you believe him to be what other people say or not. I mean, look at what the guy created today. Here's what he said. If you want to be a leader, you are called to serve. And I think if I can end this message by saying, if you get nothing else out of this training, is that we have a calling to serve. And we have a great responsibility as a leader in this profession to be able to influence and impact people's lives. See, with greatness comes much responsibility. And I think why I love network marketing is because I don't know of anything else, whereas somebody put a normal, everyday, average person, like I came into this profession, I had never done anything big in my life. I was broke. But I was put in a position to be able to influence a team of thousands of people, and some of you are in the same place, and that's a great opportunity. And I think if we can embrace that, and if we can start to change the way that we teach people to think about this business, the way to live their life, and the way to go about building their teams, we have an opportunity to truly change the world. Because I believe that the world needs network marketing. They just don't know it yet, because they haven't met enough people like us that are doing it the right way to give them a different opinion. And there's a tremendous light that we've all been given by being introduced to this business, the gift of personal growth, the gift of inspiration. If we can go out and we can be that for more people, not from the perspective of it's a good business strategy, that if I'm nice to someone, I think I can recruit them. Although it's interesting, that usually does wind up happening, but you really need to have this in your heart and soul. This is just who you are. And I think that to me is where I see the opportunity for all of us. And everything rises and falls with leadership. So that's what I kind of had planned to share with all of you. I hope you got some value out of that. I'll kick it back over to Diana or Karen and see if there's anything else they want me to talk about, or if we have some questions. I'm happy to answer some questions, however we want to go from here.
Okay, thank you so much, Bob. The way that I want to go from here is, first of all, I want to thank you so much for being here. I just feel like we are blessed and highly favored that you would be so generous with your time to come and talk with us. And I'm hoping that you'll mention your Legacy Leadership Academy and also the summit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So I have a leadership development program. It's called the Legacy Leadership Academy. And here's my big sales pitch for it. If you got even a smallest bit of value out of this message today, this is like 1/1000th of what we do every day inside of this program. It is a monthly, it's not like a typical membership program, because I think we've all been a part of those where we join and, to be honest, we do nothing with it, right? We get overwhelmed because there's so much stuff and there's no rhyme or reason. We join sometimes because we think we can have access to the person running the program, but that never quite works out that way. This is a high-level leadership development program. We have a much different approach to the way that we train and teach. We teach less. We spend more time. We teach a philosophy of building a business called Legacy Leadership that is rooted in moral and ethical and faith-based principles. And we challenge people to grow. And I think that, ask anybody that's been a part of it, that's actually showed up and done the work. They'll tell you it's been one of the most transformational experiences of their life. We are open right now for enrollment. That's only until Thursday night. I'll share the link in the chat here for anybody that is like, hey, this guy is speaking my language. I need to go check this thing out. I'll put the link in the chat for you to go take a look. Enrollment will close at midnight on Thursday, and we only open up enrollment a couple of times a year. And I will tell you this, we won't open back up until the summertime, just because we have some other things happening. One of the things we have happening is I have a big live event that I do once a year. It's a 3-day event. It's called the Impact and Growth Summit. It is basically 3 days of training that are cut from the same cloth as what I've been telling you here. We talk about, I bring in some friends of mine, people that are like the utmost experts on social media to train network marketers how to be better in that area. Instagram, stories, Facebook, you name it. We dive deep into mindset and leadership as well. And this year we're doing the event in Dallas, Texas. So I'll also put the link to the summit. It's happening in May 17th through 19th. I know Diana's already registered, and I know that she's got a lot of people planning on attending. Love to see any of you there that are interested and are up for making a trip. So.
And he gave us, our team, all a special discount of $100. We just have to put in the code Diana. It's all capital letters. I don't know if it's case sensitive or not.
Yep. Yeah. So we actually gave you a $200 discount off the face value of tickets. So you can attend all 3 days of training for $197. I just wrote, this shouldn't be that hard for you to remember. The code is Diana. So if you go to that link, Impact and Growth Summit, and you go to check out, there'll be a little place to enter a code. If you put Diana in there, you'll get $200 off the face value of ticket. That's only available, I think, for a couple of weeks. So make sure you kind of do the due diligence to see if you can make it. But I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Last year was an absolutely incredible event.
That's awesome. And then now I want to turn this over to Karen so you get a chance to meet her. I know she's very grateful. And I'm just going to say, I'll do a little bragging here and say a lot of the people that are on this call know me, and they have seen the transformation in me. It's not just me realizing that, wow, I have grown by leaps and bounds, and I am so grateful to you, because I can't do the things that I feel the Lord calls me to do unless I get courageous. And I'm becoming courageous, and I'm becoming who he wants me to be. And I'm just grateful to God, and I thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm grateful to have you be a part of the community.
Karen?
Well, yeah, Diana, I'll have to say I have been absolutely amazed at the growth. And I didn't even know you were working, learning and being taught by Bob. When I was seeing, it's like, oh my gosh, she is like so on target. She is duplicating. She is actually being very methodical and doing things that other people know that works. You weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. I had no idea that Bob was a big part of that. But, guys, you heard Bob's heart. And I would swear, that he and I were exchanging emails with what some of the things that I've heard, and that I know all of you all have heard me say so many times. But you know what, guys, we hear it all the time. And Bob, I believe you said this early on in our 5-day training. It's like, there's nothing wrong with going and paying money to learn how to recruit 20 people in 30 days. But you can't do that until you develop the leadership in your heart. You have to, as Diana said, you have to be courageous. You have to step out of your own way. You have to grow, because how are you going to attract leaders unless you are developing those leadership characteristics in your own self? And so, you know what? I think this is going to be one of the most powerful trainings that we've had. I know we've had amazing training. I mean, I personally have been in the industry for 35 years. I've probably heard most everybody. Often it's a system. It's not a heart thing. It's not a love thing. It is a way to make money only. But when you can make a lot of money, when you do have that love in your heart, you are called to be that servant leader that Bob spoke about. So I just want to encourage you all, you know what? Let's do it because we deserve it. If we want to go beyond where we are today, we have to be willing to sacrifice a few things. We have to be willing to walk away from some of the things that are holding us back. I hear so many times, well, I don't know how to do that. And that's, Bob, that's my number one thing that I want to learn to help people to duplicate. We can't really beat people up and tell them they have to follow a system that we know works when we're seeing them struggle. But helping people to duplicate and helping them to reach the goals that they're wanting to reach is my number one love. I love seeing our people win. My team will tell you that I love them with all of my heart. And you know what? I do. I do, because I said before I even made a decision to come here, I wanted to know that regardless if it was a 6-7 figure income earner from our industry, if it was a CEO from a corporation, Sally Homemaker, Joe tow truck driver, I had to know deep in my heart that this was a level playing field for everybody. And when I was on a connect call, introducing myself to someone, connecting with them, I had to know deep in my heart, I knew that they were going to win. And that's when I made a decision. When I see people come on board, I get excited because I know that we have the platform for them to win. It is helping them to develop their own skill and their own leadership and walking away from that fear. Fear holds us all back in many areas of our life. But you know what, guys? In order for us to go to where we're, this is a journey. Is it easy? No, but I will tell you this, it's the simplest thing you can do if you follow what Bob is teaching and develop that deep inside you. I've said 1 trillion times, we're not just here for coffee. We're here for something bigger than some people even know. But I see people's lives changing. I see people finding, I said, if they can just see one light in what I do, find the light that God put in my heart, not just because I'm in network marketing, but if we do what is right, what God has called us to do, guys, we won't fail. We won't fail because he doesn't take us to a place without equipping us first. And I truly believe that Bob was sent to us to be someone to help equip us so that we can be able to empower the people that are out there searching for a solution. We do have a solution for them. The world is faced with so many problems, and it's our responsibility as servant leaders to give people that sip of hope, that sip of faith, that sip of confidence, that sip of determination. Guys, a sip of freedom, freedom to have the health they deserve, freedom to have the financial blessings. The scripture says he wants us to prosper. Why don't we believe that part? We say we believe the other, so we have to believe the whole book or not at all, because we can't leave things out that just, I say, hey, a lot of times Christians change the Bible to fit their life instead of using the Bible to change their life. We got it backwards sometime. But this is our opportunity to learn from a different, honestly, this is much different than what we have heard from a lot of trainers. You're not going, Eric Corey, I've gone to a lot of his stuff, but you're not going to feel the love of God in his voice when he's talking to you. And you know what? Until you can have that balance, and if you don't put him first, then there's no way that we can grow to the level that he wants us to grow to. So I'm excited, Bob. I thank you so much for being on here with us. I know that every single one of us will be able to reach those levels, because, sometimes it's hard to face reality and say, you know what, I am holding myself back. Mm. Yes, I am afraid to step out. Yes, I'm afraid to do that. But as I said, if we're called here, you're going to be equipped to tackle anything that you need to tackle and to grow into what God wants us to grow to. So I just want to say, I just love where we are. I love the team. And by the way, this team has been the fastest growing distributorship for the last 34 months. I came on board 34 months, and we're not letting anybody steal that from us, because we're just awesome and we can't help it. So, and the one thing that I notice, and every one of us notice, there is so much love in our organization. We say it all the time. People from the other organizations come in and say, I've never seen a group just love each other like y'all do. But, we started with, if you have the love of God in you, then hopefully it will shine in other things that you do. So that is what, I'm not saying we're the church group, but I'm saying we sure do love God a lot. We do give him credit for what we've been able to accomplish here.
And Karen, I want to just add one more thing before we end this, and that is for everybody here. I have joined Bob's Legacy Academy about, I don't even know how many months ago. The first month that I did it, I might cry, but you guys all know me. It was a sacrifice. I had to save to be able to afford to do 1 month. And I thought, I'm just going to do the 1 month. I'm going to glean as much as I possibly can in that 1 month. And we'll see if it makes a difference in my income. Then I'll go on. I want to tell you, it has been the best money that I've spent in the last 20 years, more than likely. It would be a sacrifice for me at this point, after what I have learned and what I know I'm still going to learn, to give up the Legacy Academy. And I want to encourage all of you, if you have to scrimp for a couple of weeks to save up the money to be able to do it, scrimp. You will thank me for the rest of your life. So that's what I want to say.
Actually, they don't have to scrimp. They just have to go find one more business builder and get legacy money on it. It's just one.
Yeah.
Develop the leadership skills that Bob is talking about. And all you have to do is recruit one business builder into your business, and you have the money. Go do it today so that you can go ahead and get qualified, get the money, because it'll come in 10 days into your checking account. Then there's no excuses, because all excuses are equal, is what I've heard.
There you go. Bob, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, I just wanted to one more time thank the both of you for having me, and it's been a pleasure, and I hope you got some value. Look, whether you join the membership or not, I hope you got some value out of the message today. And but I do, genuinely hope to see some of you in there. I'd love to work with more of you. So thanks for having me, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us today. Thank you so much.